and I betrayed everyone who looked up to me. I betrayed my friends. I've done the worst possible thing I could have done, and I'm suffering for my choices. I don't know if I can ever come back to my platform, and it's my own fault.
I do not know where to start. When will people stop being exposed for being Diddy online? And I'm not saying stop being exposed. I mean, like, just stop talking to minors. Like, it's actually so easy to not talk to minors. Now, this video isn't scripted, so I might get a few things wrong. And I'm not saying I'm gonna get something wrong. I just might not pull some things out of, like, the 200 pages of documents that people have. I'm gonna bring up the proof. I'm gonna show the proof that I have to make my claims, make my opinions. However, I might miss some stuff, because there was just so much to read through. And to anybody who may not be in the community, may not know who this person is, don't worry, I'll give the full context of what's going on, everything that's going on. But, like, genuinely, when will y'all just stop talking to minors? So, full disclosure of all the topics that are going to be talked about is on the screen right now. You can read through them. Now, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be talking about yet, because I'm actually going to be pulling things straight from it and giving my, raw opinion, raw reaction. And let's just go over this. We are looking at it real time. I'm watching it real time just as you're watching it real time. Now, I'm gonna be for real. I skimmed over some of the documents, and I looked through it a little bit, and it's already looking so bad. Now, if you don't have the heart for topics like this or conversations like this, or even it's just a triggering topic for you, I have so many other videos you can watch, and there's so many other videos on YouTube that you can just go to. Like, I'm not gonna try to make you stay here, but yeah, I have a lot of art content that if you want to see that instead of this, I totally understand that. So quickly, I just want to start with the background. I want to give the background of this situation, the background of how I even know this artist. Now, I don't know this artist personally. I don't know who they are behind closed doors. I've never been in their Discord. I've never spoken to them personally. However, I was very into the community that they were heavily related to. Synnibear, who is otherwise known as scootaloolovessans, was a person who was within the animation meme community, the art drama community, and the Undertale community heavily. And unfortunately, I was in all three of these communities. So of course, I'm gonna be a little bit surprised when I find out somebody that I have watched their videos like 7-6 years ago has now groomed a minor. I feel like I have to say that before I go on a tangent about more context, especially since some of the titles to her videos are not aging well. So let's do this. So basically, animation memes are these animations that are memes, which is basically where people repeat or copy and do this exact same thing as the original or that somebody else did. It's just basically a repeated type form content. Usually characters bobbing their heads, but now recently it's kind of improved where people are going into more story formats than just that, but still, animation memes today have still the same format. Now, I don't really think that's as important as the connected subcategory of, sub-community of animation memes, which is the art drama community, heavily related. Both are very heavily related. There was a lot of animation meme artists who also spoke about drama topics and made commentary videos, and scootaloolovessans, or Synnibear, was one of them. Why I bring this up is because I believe the culture of the animation meme community or the art drama community is very important to know the context of when going into these documents, going into these conversations, because what I do have to say is that the freaking art drama community, they do not have their priorities straight. They will talk about how somebody traced over somebody's art, or how somebody is mad over their OC over talking about a literal, actual pedophile. That happened with another artist called Crystally, who is, thank goodness, arrested now. However, people were mostly worried about them tracing or copying other people's art rather than them being a literal criminal. So I've just seen some worrying, activities and the way that people are using their courtesy over the situation. A lot of people are talking about irrelevant topics that have nothing to do with the victims or the actual main priority, main situation. Of course, all of these things that Synnibear did will have their time to shine, will have their time to speak, but let's support the victims. I think there's more than enough context that I've shown. There may be a little bit more context that you need, especially since this is a community, so there is some names that you may need context for. However, I will get straight into it right now. I will be going over the most important bits of information. I will not be going over everything. I know a lot of people like to be very meticulous. However, I feel like I'm just not that type of person who's able to do that mentally. But there are two documents that I'm referencing. One from the group chat that was shared with a few friends that were also minors, and then one from the main victim. So first, I will talk about the blatant misconduct and the inappropriate talk to minors and with their Discord server that was of 13 and older. and then I will talk about the victim. Not as if they're all not victims, because I feel like anybody who is a minor in these situations are victims. I would also like to preface that I will not be reading out these conversations in their entirety. Now, specific points I may, but not all of them. So feel free to pause and read. The person who wrote the document says, so starting off, things like this were often said within the group chat. The deleted user with the yellow profile picture here is me, specifically here, while the user with the purple deleted profile picture is another minor. They will appear multiple different times throughout the screenshots. Despite this fact, sexual jokes were shared in the group chat, and so were other inappropriate conversations. Now, I don't know who needs this message, but I know Synny specifically needs it. You do not need to be telling minors that you're horny. You're not even telling 15-year-olds that you're horny, buddy. This is completely inappropriate. By this point, I had turned 16 years old, and the other person is still 15. Despite this, strange joking conversations like these still occurred with Synny. I feel like the main concern I have here is her engaging with someone who was 15 while she was 18. Not so much with me. Yeah, I don't need to read this out for you to tell you why it's wrong. I don't need to explain why it's wrong. Like, just read it yourself, man. The screenshots quite literally speak for themselves. Now, ordinarily, I would say an age difference like this isn't that bad, right? But it's also just like, I also just think it's really weird. You know what I mean? I personally think it's weird, but like most people have made that sort of like agreeing decision that like it ain't that bad, you know, slap on the wrist, who gives a fuck? But like really, I just think this is really weird because not just that, like you may say 3 years, but I'm thinking like 3 years, one's a full grown adult can vote, one is one who's still in school in their second year of high school. It is very different. Not only that, scootaloolovessans or Synnibear was a content creator with 300,000 followers. Not only that, this is all done online. Think about it. There's a lot of things online and through text that cannot be told or seen through physical motions or like, you know, seeing somebody moving their hand and talking. Like I'm talking right now and I'm moving my hand, but y'all can't see that. And that also gives away a certain, you know, understanding or emotional aspect to how you're speaking to somebody. So with that in mind, somebody could have seen like a very inappropriate joke that Synny made and was just like, well, I'm not going to say anything about it. Oh, they're probably just joking. Oh, it's not that bad. Or they're like trying to make excuses for these inappropriate things that they're saying. And I see that happens a lot with a lot of people. Bro, it happened to me. Like, I always made excuses for people who did things that were inappropriate to me or said things that were just very out of line to me. So I could never blame a literal child for not being able to see this type of stuff or say anything about it. For context, the image I cut off was a gore photo of their own character. Synny often posted her art within the group chat to show everyone, and she posted this drawing within the chat with a spoiler over it. I have edited it so you can see which drawing was under it. I'm hiding it. And this one is currently up on her page behind warnings. This drawing is gore art where her Sona is also in underwear. I think the response after the drawing was posted within the group chat is concerning. Again, this topic, bro, there is no excuse. These conversations, there is no excuse. You should not be talking as an 18-year-old talking to 15-year-olds about necrophilia and sending them straight up gore. Like, you know who's in the group chat, you know who's going to see it. It's very inappropriate. I'll read the statement in a second, but this is a new person who was invited to the group chat, and this is a conversation that they had, incredibly inappropriate. This is a different deleted user whose age I'm unsure of, as I was told that they were 24 when I had left, but they had an intro in Synny's Discord server from 2021 stating that they are 23. I remember seeing this conversation take place when I was on call with my partner. Synny and another adult who I know to be either 23 or 24 at the time of me leaving though, were talking back and forth within the group chat venting. The venting ended up including sexual and sensitive topics. I think it's okay to vent about certain things like this in private, but it's not okay to talk about this when there were multiple minors present within the group chat, including me and my partner, who was 16 at the time. Being able to read it, there was another minor, 16 as well, even engaging in the conversation. Me and my partner were hanging out on call and had seen this conversation go down, and I remember the both of us commenting to each other about it, feeling uncomfortable. Despite this, neither of us said anything. Even though we could have expressed our discomfort, looking back on it now, I feel as if it was not our responsibility because it's an adult's place to be mindful about what they are saying in the presence of those who are younger than them. The adults within the group chat should have known better to have this sort of conversation in private messages and not in the presence of people younger than them. yet they didn't. Now that's a more specific case. I'm going to be going more general when it comes to the next one, and that is because it is a general topic, because this is a Discord. You can't catch everything. So I'll give a summary while showing some proof on the screen. Synnibear has it in the rules that in their server there can only be 13 or older inside of it, and that nsfw is not allowed to be posted, messages or otherwise. Everyone else follows this rule, but Synnibear somehow does not have to, and constantly posts and talks about nsfw topics. Minors interact with this content, and Synnibear is aware of it. That's mostly it about the server. There's a lot more about the server that I didn't mention, but it's just like so many logs, so many things to go over that I just like don't have the time for it. And I feel like if you get the gist of it, you get the gist of it. It's not good, and it's not good for my sanity to keep going over it. So here's the second document that I am finally going to read. This will be the final section of the video, and I'm just going to read it straight up. The artwork in this document is censored, the NSFW, but the conversations that me and her had are still graphic, and I would recommend being 16 years or older if you're going to read this. I feel like I need to reiterate that Synni is not a pedophile, but a groomer. She was not attracted to me for being a child. She did not date me. She groomed me. This is the conversation that they had when the first time they met. Pause to read. They would call for hours. Synnibear acknowledging their age. Maybe slight NSFW. Very inappropriate topic. This is not even the worst of it. It gets worse. Gives his victim access to a full non-con comic that they made. So finally, we've made it to the home stretch, the last part, and it's the fact that Synnibear actually made a response. And this response was an admittance to literally everything. Now I can give you a round of applause for that, for not being like Drake and not peeping a word, but you still are Drake and you still are Diddy. Now what can we take away from this? I do not think that Synnibear actually likes him younger. I think that this is just a situation where Synnibear just ended up grooming somebody. Now, I'm not saying just ended up, because they were obviously aware that it was something bad and that it was something that they shouldn't have been doing, but ultimately it did happen.
I was going to make a video talking about a recent document that was released about me, but the situation has gotten much more serious as I realize the damage that I've caused. I've been an irresponsible content creator, and I've been acting inappropriately towards my fans.
Very inappropriately talking to minors, and yes, this should have not happened, but a lot of it, I do think it has to do with just irresponsibility. Nobody really called them out. I've noticed that in a lot of screenshots, a lot of people didn't really call them out until this document. And a few people might have mentioned it a few times, but honestly, I think that there's a possibility that they could have been unaware that what they were doing was wrong. But again, I have no way to prove that, and still the damage has already been done.
This alone is enough for me to realize I need to make sweeping changes to how I conduct myself and how I interact with my fans. But the most serious thing I've done is I've groomed a minor. I became friends with a 14-year-old after I made a mental note to myself to not become friends with minors again.
Well, pack it up, Buttercup, because you fucking failed. That will be the end of all the evidence and all the videos. Now I'm going to be going on to my personal opinions and also my just personal notes about some random shit that I've found out while talking about this situation. The amount of people who are deciding to stay neutral despite all of the evidence on Twitter is absolutely insane. Like, I've seen so many people who are like, I'm staying neutral. And low-key, like, I respect you staying neutral if there has not been anything that's come out, or if Synnibear hasn't responded yet, but the thing is that Synnibear has responded and has literally admitted to what they did. Like, why are you saying that you're going to stay neutral when this is already basically explained and resolved? Now, I wouldn't say resolved in the sense that anything is fixed, but I'm just saying that we have all the information that we need, all that we have, and it's basically a confirmation of, if not all but most of the messages and chat logs that we've seen. Now, this is like really personal to me. Like, I really wanted to talk about for a minute about how I even know this artist, and I'm not saying that I know them personally or as a friend or anything like that, but like, I was in the animation meme community. That's why I gave that whole like sort of like backstory, the anime animation backstory back there because I needed to talk about like my relations towards it, why I feel like so strongly about it, and why like I am very like hyperactive and talk and a lot about this situation is because like, dude, nostalgia hits differently. Nostalgia is something that people look for, and I wouldn't say that I personally look for nostalgia. I'm just saying that I did feel that sort of nostalgia when I went back through their animations, went back through their videos. I'm like, holy shit, this is actually them. They actually did this. And it's like, it's something that a lot of people would sort of want to ignore. And I know that a lot of people especially on TikTok, this is how I got this information. A lot of people on TikTok are trying to ignore it, trying to forget it, trying to pretend that it didn't happen, or like not even looking for evidence, still trying to say, oh, scootaloolovessans is still a good person in my book. But and I don't blame them for that ignorance, because most of the people on TikTok are children. But it's also just like, a lot of people just don't want to have that sort of negativity, you know? And like, I respect you if you go on your day, like whatever, like I don't even care about Synnibear, I don't even give a fuck about this. I get that. But like, the people who are up in the comments defending Synnibear, like blah blah blah, like please educate yourself, please educate yourself before you go on these platforms saying shit like that. Now if you're uneducated, I would never, ever, ever attack you for being uneducated. I would educate you first, and then if you still decide to be willfully ignorant, I will go after you. But I do respect a lot of the people who go over these topics. That's why I wanted to go over this topic, because first of all, it was personal to me, and it's also because I was inspired by other people who are spreading awareness and are helping people, like for example Rotten Mango. Stark difference between me and her, right? She's amazing, I could never be her, but she spreads awareness, and I love seeing people in the comments like, I'm so thankful that you talked about this, I'm so thankful that you spoke about this. And really, I'm doing this to help people, but also sort of like heal a part of myself that sort of wants that ending, that even though it might not be good, I just want to know what's happening, right? I just want to be educated. I just want to know what's going on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, the docs will be in the description of this video, and I also do want to say these are all allegations. Now you might be asking, why do you have to say these are allegations? Well, for legal purposes, I don't want to get harassed or attacked because somehow one random day comes out that everything is AI and somebody hacked into Synnibear's account and made that and posted that video with an AI voice. I don't want that happening, but yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please spread awareness. Please let everybody know, especially people who know these people. We need to get these ditties out of here, bro.